How are you prepared to deal with digestive problems in your rabbitry? Of the issues that affect meat rabbits, digestive issues are probably the more common, although I want to also say that they're not usually very common with a well-managed, well-cared for set of rabbits. But you may come up against this, and when you do, you should be prepared. So here's a few simple steps to take if you start to notice digestive distress in your meat rabbits. So first, let's say this. This is a kind of first step, immediate action to take if you start to have digestive problems in your rabbit room. Now, the causes of that could be different. You could have a GI stasis, which is basically when the digestive system slows way down or stops. Or you could have bloat, which is caused by a blockage. Or you could have other viral or bacterial origins. But the bottom line is a lot of the time, your symptoms are going to be very similar at first. By the time you see symptoms, that rabbit has probably already been in distress for a while because they are prey animals and they're going to hide it for as long as they can. And so when you start noticing something in your rabbit, you need to take quick action to support them and hopefully get them through it. Not everything is something that you can actually fix in a rabbit, and especially because of that characteristic where they hide it for so long that sometimes they're too far progressed. It's not uncommon that they're too far progressed for you to be able to help them out. And that isn't necessarily meaning that you're a bad rabbit raiser. It's nature. It's the fact of life with them. You know, a lot of other livestock animals can be similar in that nature. But it just means take action quickly when you see things happening. So if you see a rabbit that's kind of in the corner, looking lethargic, their head is up, they might be breathing fast or heavy, mouth breathing, step in and take action. Keep a good eye on the trays in your rabbits. You want to see good, solid, normal, round poop. If you're seeing kind of soft, mushy poop that's kind of messy on like your rest mats or something like that, that might mean that you need to keep a little better eye. May or may not be a time for you to step in and take further action, but definitely start looking at it. So I've broken this down to a simple, like say 3 to 4 step protocol that I use. But again, this is just your first step. This is your first immediate action. So what are you going to do? First, whether it's GI stasis or bloat or something else, you know, a lot of these are brought on by stress, but the big thing you need to do is to keep the stomach moving as best you can. They need fiber and they need a good microbiome balance. So the microbiome balance comes from their cecotropes, from the fermentation that occurs in the hindgut, them eating the cecotropes. That's basically probiotics. So we can help them with that in the meantime. First step is pull the pellets. They're higher in protein, it's a richer food, and while yes, you need that for good growth, if your animal is not eating and functioning, they're not growing anyway, you need to get them back on track. Feed hay. Hay is fiber. Fiber moves the guts. It will help push out blockages if there is a blockage. It will help get a gut that's in stasis going. And then the other is to attend to that microbiome, which means adding probiotics. So you can add probiotics all the time. A lot of people will do it prophylactically, just as a part of their program. I tend to do it off and on, or in periods of stress. That's when I'll go for the probiotics. Probiotics are really easy to use. All you have to do, put it in your bucket of water. Everybody can get it. And, you know, if you have one rabbit that's in distress in the rabbitry, it's a good idea to start treating everybody at least with the probiotics. I wouldn't pull pellets from everybody. I would only pull pellets from rabbits that are showing signs of digestive distress. Hay is something that I feed regularly anyway. But as, say, a protocol treatment, again, I would be feeding only hay to only the rabbits that are having a problem. So this is all easy to do. Again, You're just pulling the pellets, you're feeding lots of hay. Now you're going to have to increase the hay if they're actually eating. You know, in that case, I would be putting huge handfuls in the cage, cleaning it out every day, refreshing it every day, and making sure they have good access to it. So one final thought is that during this time, if you need to treat an animal like that, don't worry about the fact that you're going to reduce their growth rate by not having them on pellets. This situation should not last that long. It should only last a few days to a week. After that time, if you haven't been able to bring that rabbit back from that, then you're probably not going to, and that rabbit probably is either going to pass on its own, or you need to mercy cull that animal. So this, again, don't be worrying about that. You can make up for last time once you get their bellies moving again. Once they're doing better, they can make up for lost time on that feed. They'll come back from it. Down here, I actually have one, couple of them. These guys were in GA stasis, probably a month or so ago. And, you know, they're thriving, they're doing well. They're actually some of the most annoying and active rabbits in the barn. That drive me a little crazy in the mornings with their noise and their making a mess. But, you know, obviously animals can come back from it. Not always, but they either will or they won't. So at that point, again, you know, you need to just let it take its toll. And if after about a week you're not able to overcome it, you need to consider whether further action needs to be taken. So that said, you know, this is a first step action. In other words, maybe you stop here if you think like it's just a stasis and they need to work through it and give them time and see how it goes. But start with this and then start doing your research, looking at the other symptoms and whether there's more that you need to do, and whether you decide to seek veterinary care or advice is up to you. You know, to be completely frank, in a rabbitry, often it doesn't pay to seek veterinary advice. Culling might be the smarter, more efficient answer. I know that's a hard thing for a lot of people to hear, but you're talking about a rabbit that probably has a monetary value of $40 to $60, and a vet is going to cost you probably $200 to $300. So, you know, that's the reality of life with production animals, because they're production animals, not pets. We need to treat them like production animals and make smart decisions that way. So again, first line of defense, very simple. Keep the water going, probiotics in it, pull pellets, feed hay. One final note. Some of the veterinarians, some of the experts on there are saying that if you think it's bloat, you maybe shouldn't be pushing water. At least you shouldn't be pushing it through a syringe, because it's not that they don't have water in their systems, and they said usually those bellies will be full and sloshy, but it's that they can't move it through their system anyway. So if you are force feeding something like electrolytes or water, all you're doing is giving them something they can't utilize, expanding their stomachs and increasing pain and stress. So that is something to look more into. Come on over to meetrabbits.org. There's more discussion on this topic and on that topic, and I have some links to some resources that go into better detail about that, and also links to resources that help you palpate the belly to feel if it is stasis or a blockage, which would be bloat. So I hope this helps. I'm just trying to give you that first line of defense. Again, don't end here, just start here. I hope that actually you never need this video, but in case you do, now you have the information. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.